If you were psychoanalyzing Trump and Kamala Harris, what would you conclude right now?
If I could vote in the American election, I would vote.
Is he going to say, I would vote third party, or I would vote for Donald Trump? He's on the Daily Wire. He can't say, I don't think he will say Donald Trump. Doesn't he pretend to be centrist? I don't think he'll full on say he would vote for Trump, right? He doesn't have to. He's not even an American citizen. I would vote third party. That's my guess. Dr. Mike exposes the myth of Ozempic. Uh-oh.
If you've been on TikTok or Twitter as of late, you've seen this new drug, Ozempic.
Polar opposites now, running for president of the United States. If you were psychoanalyzing Trump and Kamala Harris, what would you conclude right now based on everything you've seen and heard?
Psychoanalyzing Trump and Harris. Okay, so we're going to have to attack Trump on something and say that he's got some kind of character flaw, but it can't be an essential. It can't be like incredibly important, right? It can't be something that's really important. So maybe something like Trump is maybe a little bit too unhinged, but probably because he's been attacked so much by the media. So he's a bit like a scared dog in the corner, or like a scared cat, you know, but like he's a good man and he's trying to do what's right. But Harris is a post-colonial, post-Marxist, post-modernist, post-everything Democrat, liberal, progressive, commie father who wants to destroy the world. It's going to be all bad. All right, that's my guess. Let's see.
Well, if I could vote in the American election, I would vote.
Is he going to say, I would vote third party, or I would vote for Donald Trump? I would vote for RFK. RFK's already dropped. I would vote for a third party candidate. He's on the Daily Wire. Third party or Donald Trump? I would vote. He can't see. I don't think he will say Donald Trump. Doesn't he pretend to be centrist? Donald Trump or third party? I don't think he'll full on say he would vote for Trump, right? He doesn't have to. He's not even an American citizen. I would vote third party. That's my guess.
For Trump.
Me. Okay, never mind. Just kidding. All right. Peterson's gone full sellout. My bad.
Well, if I could vote in the American election, I would vote for Trump. And I don't trust Harris. Now, do I trust Trump? Well, he was president for 4 years. Like, look, the best predictor of someone's future behavior is their past behavior. If you're trying to hire someone and you have documented history of their efforts in precisely the domain that you're attempting to hire for, and the evidence is clear and valid, you use that in favor of all other predictive, what would you say, predictive markers. So I think it's more appropriate for me as a clinician who knows the psychometric literature.
Has he lost his medical license or whatever yet from Canada? If not, comments like these, he absolutely should. He absolutely shouldn't have any kind of medical, any accreditation, accreditation, any of that should be revoked. Like this is such an unbelievably irresponsible statement. Also, by the way, people were literally ass-pained about this in the last election cycle, where people were diagnosing Trump as crazy. In the United States, it's called the Goldwater Rule, right? Prohibits members from offering psychological opinions about individuals whom they had not personally examined. Peterson has not personally examined any of these people. Now he's literally saying, as a psychometrician, I'm going to tell you based on the clinical shit. Like, you can't, that's such an inappropriately, disgustingly horrible thing to do. But
predictive, what would you say, predictive markers. So I think it's more appropriate for me as a clinician who knows the psychometric literature to point out that, independent of Trump's personality, which tends, by the way, to be a relatively weak predictor of behavior, it's intelligence that's the best predictor, and then personality, we have a documented track record. Okay, so what do we know about Trump? Well, as far as I'm concerned, we know this: decent economic performance, markedly stable internet.
Like Peterson doesn't know anything about any of these topics. Decently economic performance, really? What did he do? He has tax cuts, that's it. What else could you possibly say?
National situation. No wars, plus.
He's on the Republican talking points. We should know all of these by now, right? It's always the same things. No wars, which is retarded and stupid. I don't think America's been in a war since World War II. It's such a dumb metric. No wars. It's always the same stupid things. Decent economic performance without listing any policies. No wars, which means nothing. He's going to say reduced immigration at the border by the end of his term, even though that's not true. And when it was happening, it was in large part due to COVID. Let's see, what else? What are the other stupid talking points? Respect around the world, maybe? I don't know.
And that's something. No wars. Plus, he established the Abraham Accords, and they've held even after October 7th. And everybody in the State Department told the Trump administration that putting that agreement together was impossible. Now, of course, it's the Abraham Accords that have infuriated and frustrated the bad actors in Iran, and that's pretty much the entire political class there, and fomented October 7th and produced this catastrophe that's unfolding. But
who did he hear this from? So even if he knows this, then how can you say that the Abraham Accords were a good idea? Okay.
But putting that at the feet of Donald Trump is a very ill-advised thing to do.
Why? Wait, so are we putting it at the feet of Joe Biden?
So I would say with regards to Trump, well, we know what a Trump presidency would be like, but there's something else to consider too, because you might say, well,
what about Vietnam? I don't think we ever formally declared war in Vietnam. I think the last formal declaration of war, I'm pretty sure was World War II.
Well, we know what a Trump presidency would be like, but there's something else to consider too, because you might say, well, that was round one and now it's round two and Trump is older. And although I think he's actually modified his behavior to some degree as a consequence of being beat up so thoroughly over the last 5 years. And although
being beat up. Yep. The media is attacking him and he's like this is the cat in the corner. Here it is.
He's a bit defensive. He's also less
yep.
blustery and more human, which I think is a big plus. But for me, the other thing that I've seen really switch that's really been positive for me is that
Trump doesn't take any bullshit at all anymore. He's on the attack. Do you think he'll say that? He's so unhinged now.
Trump has pulled a lot of hyper powerful people together around him.
Who? What? Wait, who's he going to list?
Musk, Tulsi Gabbard, Vivek Ramaswamy, Robert F. Kennedy, most of whom would have been Democrats in anything approximating a sane and normal world.
Okay. By the way, this is who conservatives in the United States right now listen to, and they're like, this guy is really smart. This guy, most conservatives in the United States have an incredibly favorable opinion of Jordan Peterson, and I think he's an intellectual. I think he's very, very, very smart. He has a very good handle on things. He's very smart, very good analysis of the current U.S. political climate. And
so, you see, my sense is that somebody whose narcissistic impulses are out of control, because Trump is a
Oh, but it's okay. It's okay that so there's going to be another minor critique. He might have narcissistic impulses, but he's smart enough to surround himself with good people that can pull him back from the brink to make sure that that narcissism is channeled in a positive way so that he knows if he wants to do things that are good for him, he has to do things that are good for America.
Flamboyant and dominating character who likes the public light. So you think, well, does he tilt too far in the narcissistic direction? It's like, well, why would he share the spotlight with the rest of this crew? And the other thing that we should consider is that, look, man, I would vote for Trump if for no other reason than Musk himself has already agreed to head something like a Department of Governmental Efficiency in the U.S. It's like, okay, enough said. And then Kennedy.
Oh, yeah, creating another department in the government is going to save the government even more money. Wow, great idea.
Is bringing the public health crisis into the political realm. And both those two things are revolutionary.
I would also say
Ramaswamy seems to be... Go ahead.
Ramaswamy is a very smart guy as well. I completely agree with you on that. Also, I think that Trump has shown with these assassination attempts something very surprising that I suspect a lot of people would not have expected, and that is genuine personal courage. I mean, the first time when he was actually shot, to insist on getting back up and to punch the air defiantly was a remarkable thing to do.
God, it's so cringe.
But I thought what even more remarkably was a week later, he was back.
Insist on getting up? What are you talking about?
On stage at another rally with an even bigger crowd, like nothing had happened. I spoke to him that night and he was, very gung-ho. I'm just going to keep doing it. They're not going to stop me. That is personal moral courage. I don't think you ever know whether you have it until it happens. And then you saw again with this latest one, he was cracking jokes immediately afterwards, saying, well, I wish I could have finished my birdie putt. Again, the reaction, it's a quality of Trump that we haven't really seen until you see it. And you're never quite sure how people will respond when there are genuine threats to kill them. And he's actually been shot and then nearly got killed again. And yet he's back out there continuing with the campaigning. So whatever you think of Trump, I do think on the personal courage aspect, he's shown a lot of it recently.
Yes, grace under pressure, but also you pointed to something else, is that he was up cracking jokes. Hitler wasn't well known for his sense of humor. And the thing about Trump, and you can't deny this, Trump is a funny bastard.
Right.
He's funny. He'll say daring things just because they're comical. He's really good at it. And even his Twitter usage, his X usage, Twitter, of course, because he's not really using the platform now, impulsive, entertaining, unbelievably cutting and funny in a stand-up comedian sort of manner. And, that just doesn't go well with the tyrannical personality, because tyrants aren't well known for being able to tolerate the court jester. Let's put it that way. And so Trump is tough and funny. The other thing about Trump you got to think about too is, is he ambitious? Well, I don't think it's ambition that's driving his pursuit of this second term. I mean, first of all, Trump's an old man. And second of all, he's already president and he's as famous as you can get.
Yeah.
And you might say, well, his ambition is so overweening that, it's compelling him forward regardless. And I don't actually think so.
True. Trump is surrounded by these billionaires, celebrities, politicians, etc., and that is good. Harris gets supported by similar types, and it's Hollywood or the deep state, or Zuckerberg is going to use Facebook to help Harris's government, whereas Musk should head a new department. That is true. It is funny that Elon Musk is literally, by the way, a full-throated propagandist right now. He's just tweeting out now, like, yes, Trump needs to win the election. It's essential. I'm not gonna be able to find his tweet because this guy and the 20 people running his account tweet like 50 million times a day. Like he's literally retweeting libs of doxing, Jesus. Like retweeting all of these blatant, huge supporting messages for Donald Trump. And he owns the platform. Are you, just curious, if you create a new account on X, are you automatically subscribed to Elon Musk? I don't know if that's true. I'm just curious. I don't know. But like, I mean, I know he's got, is he the most followed account on X? Like the fact that he's just blatantly in favor of Trump and he just spam promotes it all day, all the time, is so blatant. And then you're like, oh, this guy should be part of a new government admin for the US, for the world. Trump must win. Yes, this is so gross. Holy shit, it's so disgusting. Oh my God.
So Elon called me. As you know, he endorsed me full-throated. Great endorsement. I respect Elon a lot. He respects me. And not easy for him to endorse.
Do you think it would not be good to have a department to investigate administrative inefficiency? It seems like that good kind of thing could go. No, we already have Office of Accountabilities that are. That's what OAG. These exist for every major department. They already exist. The problem is what happens is people will say this thing. They always say like, we're going to go line by line through the code. We're going to go line by line. Nothing ever comes of any of this ever. People always have this delusion. Of like, God, these departments are so inefficient and bloated. I'm going to go in and make it more efficient. Really? Okay, good luck. And then they go in and it's like, okay, well, this is a lot more complicated than I thought. Like, you can't just create a magical department of efficiency and then magically create and then magically make it so that now everything is like running better. Like, no offense, or actually, I'm sorry, take offense. Elon Musk can't even manage Twitter. He can't manage one company that he bought. Why the would I imagine him to be able to manage the government?
To be honest with you, it takes courage to endorse.
Say, didn't Jordan B. Peterson spend some time in Russia not so long ago? I feel like it was right before he went off the deep end. Just saying true. I think somebody said Kanye West did too. I'm not sure if that's true or not. But yeah, apparently we can't do benzodiazepine. We can't do benzo detox in the United States. I guess that's impossible. So you've got to go to Russia to do it. It's retarded.
Many people have courage and many people don't. He does have courage. And Elon endorsed me, and he asked me whether or not I'd do a show on Monday, and I think it's going to be Monday night. And I believe he's the host of the show, so it'll be very interesting. A lot of people are talking about it. I look forward to it. That'll be
so cringe. All of it's cringe. Okay.
I was just wondering how much the Kremlin is paying Kim Iverson for her efforts to try to split the vote in favor of Trump.
Oh, here we go with Russiagate, huh? Loads of money. I'm becoming a millionaire as we speak.
Well, to be fair, you did receive some money from a Syrian-funded foundation, right, for some of the work that you've done? Yeah?
There were, I don't know if they were funded by Syria. That was something that some investigative journalists said, that these people were somehow connected to Syria.
You don't know? You don't know about the source of money you've received? You wouldn't be interested to find out? You wouldn't do more research there?
I won an award that was gifted to many of us independent journalists, and I was never told why I won the award, like for which coverage in particular. And I was never told.
When is this from? 4 years ago. There was a Syrian org that was like giving a bunch of money and shit to people. And yeah, she was one of the people that received it for her wonderful work denying all the Syrian atrocities.
That was it. I was never said, they never influenced or said anything. I literally don't know for which coverage. I only figured out the coverage later when I actually had an opportunity to meet with one of the members of that fund. And he was Iranian, and he was specifically discussing my coverage on Iran. So I don't, I heard that, but those of us that received it said, I mean, all of us have the same. We were not even in contact. We don't know who. We didn't know anything. It was completely. For us, they didn't come and say, "Hey, we like your coverage on Syria. Here's an award." That just didn't happen. They didn't say anything.
Okay. Do not eat when you want to. A lot of managing weight is changing your appetite through new habits. I think there are some habits that help with food eating. Can you send me? Hold on, wait. I've got 5 emails. Can you send me a Google Calendar invite for this meeting? So I 100% won't miss it. Thank you. I think intermittent fasting is a good habit to pick up, not because I believe in any of the weird metabolic things that people say happen, but because it keeps you from eating food at times of the day that you shouldn't be. Like nothing that you eat past 9 o'clock is probably ever going to be good for you. You're probably always eating dog shit food late at night. Stuff like that I think helps. Oh, but also eating, finding food that's satiating is really important too. Like people don't realize the difference in satiation between like protein heavy food or unprocessed food versus like ultra processed food. Like if you, like an ordinary buttered croissant, right? Can we find that? Starbucks croissant nutrition. Does the Vyvanse help with appetite control? Kind of. A buttered croissant from Starbucks is 250 calories. I feel like the average person could put away 2 croissants very easily and you'll be hungry again in an hour, right? These are not like very fulfilling. Whereas like the standard go-to would be, this is why people do the chicken and rice meme so much, right? But like one skinless, boneless, cooked chicken breast is about the same calories, right? It's probably a lot harder to eat 2 full chicken breasts versus 2 butter croissants, and the chicken breasts are going to leave you full longer because it takes your body longer to digest the protein and work through everything. Whereas the butter croissants are going to be digested and the sugar is going to be absorbed like instantaneously into your body, very efficiently. Your body is very good at holding on to calories. It's expensive, cheaper than ordering though, but for an unhealthy loser, work from home, or neat gamer, just walking to a place to eat is healthy because you won't order too much and you walk there. I mean, walking is good, but you probably still order a lot, right? For Vyvanse helping with appetite control, I feel like stimulants will help you in that they get rid of like dopamine eating, as in, I don't know if this is an ADHD no, it's not an ADHD code. I need to stop saying that. I feel like before, if I had like a box of cookies or whatever, that thing is gone in one day. Like anytime I walk by the kitchen, I will be eating 2 cookies. There's no way, right? Or like when I was in airports, like the desire to just buy something and eat it was so fucking strong. But I feel like on Vyvanse, I don't have the same impulse. I can still like eat cookies and stuff if I want to, but it's not like, I just don't have like the same impulse eating bullshit. So stimulants will help you in that sense, but in terms of absolute reduction in appetite, I think they help a bit too. And then you can off-label prescribe, or might be on-label prescribe amphetamines for minor weight loss, but now people are doing Ozempic. That Ozempic thing is going to change the composition of our bodies a lot. That's going to be crazy. I simply don't get hungry at all on ADHD meds. I feel like I was like that for a month or 2, but do you think intermittent helps regulate daily caloric intake? I mean, it can, yeah, as long as you're not retarded about it, yeah. Do you think Ozempic will bring healthcare costs down overall over time? I think Ozempic will probably make the entire world, or the entire Western world, a way, 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 way better place. Yeah, holy shit. The amount of money that we spend, the amount of health complications relating to obesity, it's probably like the single biggest, next to like fucking vaccines or something, assuming there aren't catastrophic side effects or something that we're missing. Yeah, it's probably going to be one of the biggest medical breakthroughs or advancements that we've had. I think it's strictly insecure people who shit on Ozempic. They want the credit for the work they put in over the health of their community. Well, the thing is, people will moralize your body a lot, because they'll say that like the way that you treat your body and the things that you do for your body are like evidence of, moral character. And they're not totally wrong to some extent, right? That working out and eating healthy requires some level of discipline and everything, for sure. And if you shortcut that with a medication, that it's not like as morally righteous or whatever. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's your health. Who the fuck cares? If you can be healthier by taking a pill, then you can be healthier by taking a pill. How widespread is Ozempic right now? Do you think basically anyone who's overweight will take it in the future? I think it's getting very widespread. I'm hearing a lot of commercials on the radio for it, and it feels like almost every celebrity now is basically taking it. I think it'll become very, very, very widespread in the future. Yeah. This is the thing that we've been waiting for, right? Is the miracle weight loss drug. Like, this is it, If you take it and eat horribly, will you still lose weight? Yep. I think its common form is called Wegovy. Ozempic solves weight issues, but people's diets will still be horrible, right? We'll have less obesity, but still a lot of heart disease, I would think. We'll have heart disease, but the problem is that being obese, period, is just bad for you. Like, even if all else the same, even if you eat a shitty diet, even if you do everything else, just being obese is bad for you. So if you eat the same diet, but you're just not obese, you're in a way better position than somebody that is obese. It's just really, being obese is really, really, really bad. Have you done any reading with how it works? I have no clue. What is it? It's like a GP1 agonist or whatever that works against is it the receptor that signals for hunger? I think, I don't know, something like that. It will be a miracle if that shit isn't pulled from the market in 2 years like every other miracle weight loss drug. Ozempic? I don't think there's ever been another drug on the market that's like Ozempic. Or whatever the pharmaceutical, whatever thing is called. I feel like the only thing holding Ozempic back is the increased risk of lymphoid cancer. Still, it outweighs the negatives of obesity. Yeah, but my guess is even if it increases lymphoid cancer, all of the other health impacts, like even if it was a significant increase in a type of cancer, I bet all-cause mortality would decrease enough that it would easily outweigh any other thing. That'd be my guess. What's the one bodybuilders used to use? I don't think bodybuilders I don't think I had to use things to lose weight. Are you talking about, I feel like it would be a different thing. Dr. Mike exposes the myth of Ozempic. Uh-oh. Oh, semaglutide is the actual drug name? Yeah.
Odds are, if you've been on TikTok or Twitter as of late, you've seen this new drug, Ozempic, be mentioned.
Bodybuilders do use stuff for losing weight. Yeah, but not like FDA-approved stuff with no side effects over like a long-term in a therapeutic manner that doesn't like destroy, like that's a totally different thing. Comparing something that a bodybuilder might use to cut weight for a competition, or that they're using in conjunction with other drugs or extreme training or other types of doping or whatever, is different than, yeah.
I've actually seen Elon Musk tweet about it. It's been covered in the New York Times. It's literally everywhere.
It was something that began with an E. I think I was thinking of fighters, not builders. Are you thinking of EPO doping or whatever, like blood doping, or?
So it's about time that we talk about the truth when it comes to Ozempic. For those who don't know, Ozempic is a medication that's been FDA approved to be used in patients who have diabetes to help control blood sugars and, as an added effect, decrease the likelihood of major cardiovascular events and have increases.
The drug is called clenbuterol.
In weight loss. Because of this added effect of weight loss, many people started using the medication off-label for just weight loss. The pharmaceutical company decided to take the same generic medication found within Ozempic, called semaglutide, increase its dosage, and repackage it under a different brand name called Wegovy, and seek FDA approval as a weight loss medication to be used in conjunction with lifestyle changes for individuals who are either obese or overweight, but also who have one weight-related diagnosis, like hypertension, high cholesterol, etc. And after so many people started getting Ozempic prescribed for this off-label use for weight loss, it exploded in popularity, mostly on television and on TikTok, with people claiming that they've lost huge amounts of weight, talking about their successes. And as a result of all this publicity, there was literally a run to doctors to prescribe this medication for them off-label.
Why do people hate pharmaceutical companies so much? It's just like the next thing, just like big anything. Like it's a company, it's something you don't understand, so it's like prime for like being hated.
in order to help them with their weight loss, which unfortunately ended up creating a shortage, which puts people at risk who desperately need the medication because they have a true diagnosis of diabetes and are not using it for off-label uses. There is a huge rise of misinformation happening at this very moment.
Wait. I'm sorry. Hold on, real quick. Okay, we don't care about the higher dimension thing. No, we do. Okay, we'll do nothing else to say. Let me watch this real quick. Let's finish this part.
I was a Democrat my whole life.
Yeah.
And I think that the
Pharma also has the craziest profit margins. I doubt that that's true if you adjust for risk. Okay.
I was a Democrat my whole life.
Yeah.
And I think that the far left extremists have, it's just become too much of a gap between what a Democrat was 10 years ago, what it is to now.
I agree.
And it's like,
The thing, so the far left, I hate that they're even associated with Democrats because they're not even Democrats. Frankly, they're communists.
True.
For real, actual communists. I don't know why we have to share that space with them.
True.
Because it gives this impression that the body of the Democratic Party is like fringe being socialist communists.
True.
And it's not the case. The vast majority of Democrats are social Democrats who believe in liberty and democracy and free markets and all this kinds of stuff. And, and having social nets for the less fortunate of us, which in a capitalist society, the byproduct is going to be that there's going to be some losers. And so we need to, I think, take care of them and make sure that, like, even if you're on the low end of earning, that you
Holy shit. Wow, that's a really good position to have. True. In capitalism, there'll be some losers, and we should take care of them with taxes.
take care of them and make sure that, like, even if you're on the low end of earning, that you can live a respectable life. And I think that's what the Democrats are about. When you look at someone like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, these are established liberal Democrats. Now, when I think about, like, super left...
Wait, did he cut his knee? Or what's going on here? Jesus.
Hardcore, like, Democrats. Now, when I think about, like, super left, hardcore, like, Marxists, that is like a whole different beast. They hate liberals. They think Democrats and Republicans are all fascists. They literally don't see a difference. And you can see it now. They're advocating against Kamala Harris just because...
That's a tattoo by his kids.
She's not far enough left.
Yeah, a big reason is because she supports Israel, I think. And I don't know why. It's such a huge... whatever. There's a whole thing with Marxism, like Marxist theory, and, like, the
Do you not feel like, though, with...
based. Do you think that Ozempic's a bit of a cop-out? In my opinion, I feel like if you're fat, you are still going to keep shitty habits, probably still eat poorly. I know it's positive because they will be healthier, but if you stop taking, won't you just get fat again from no exercise? Yeah, probably. But I mean, it's a hospital. All they can do is prescribe you medication. If they can prescribe you medication to make you less fat, then they'll prescribe you medication and you'll be less fat and you'll be healthier for it. You won't be as healthy as if you had better eating habits and a exercise regimen and everything else, but you'll still be healthier. Just like when you prescribe medication for lowering somebody's blood pressure, right? Is the best way to lower your blood pressure through medication? Well, no, the best way would probably be through good diet, good exercise, healthy sleep, and naturally bringing your body more in alignment with where it should be. But if you can lower somebody's blood pressure with medication, then you do it and they're healthier for it. It's not ideal, but it's better than nothing, right? If you have diabetes, you're already fucked. Just die so I can be skinny. No tears. I think this is a 25% conviction belief. I think you can reverse diabetes. I think if you lose weight and you significantly change your eating habits, I believe that's possible. I believe that's possible. For type 2. For type 1, just kill yourself in a video game. How does type 1 even exist then? Type 1 is a punishment from God to smite the unholies. Diabetes has to do with your body's inability to use insulin to regulate your blood sugar. Type 1 diabetic. Type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disease, meaning your immune system is eating your pancreas, and your pancreas has... I think they're beta cells that produce insulin, and your body kills those, so your body doesn't make insulin naturally, or it makes a severely reduced rate, and then your blood sugar is high, and high blood sugar just kills you over time. So type 1 diabetes is autoimmune. You can't do much for it, except maybe if you get AIDS. Maybe that makes it go away because your immune system gets killed. I don't know. Type 2 diabetes is just your body has made so much insulin because it's got to shove so much blood sugar into your fat cells that eventually your cells get so tired of insulin, sending those midnight texts saying, hey, what you doing? That your cells start to ignore it. So your body has to make more and more and more and more insulin. And then eventually your cells stop caring. And then you have to use exogenous insulin. You need to pump even more. And your cells just care less and less over time. So I think type 2 diabetes is characterized by insulin resistance. Type 1 diabetes is characterized by an autoimmune disease that attacks your pancreas. There's a type 3 diabetes too, but I don't remember what that is. Or maybe that's what people theorize Alzheimer's disease is. I don't remember. But okay, finishing this.
desperately need the medication because they have a true diagnosis of diabetes and are not using it for off-label uses. There is a huge rise of misinformation happening at this very moment that we have to fact check. This claim is patently untrue, and anyone saying this has a terrible understanding of how Ozempic semaglutide actually works. This medicine actually works as an appetite suppressant that slows or delays gastric emptying, therefore you feel full and you have less of an appetite. So it's more of an appetite modulator, leading you to consume less calories, therefore losing weight. Not, oh, I can eat 10 pizzas and take this medication and not absorb the calories. You see how there's a very important difference here? Because if you eat a lot of food and take this medication that slows your gastric emptying, it's gonna make you feel worse and you're gonna have more side effects, more nausea, more vomiting, more potential diarrhea and constipation. People are actually talking about these side effects who are eating their normal portions or even eating reduced portions. So imagine if you were to overeat thinking you can while taking this medication. That's a cause for concern. This claim is starting to spiral out of control because it initially started with some simple observations that doctors made of their patients who were losing weight on Ozempic or Wegovy, and they were seeing that those patients were losing body fat, but they were also losing lean muscle mass. This is not surprising because the way these medications work is by suppressing appetite, therefore having the patient consume less calories. Anytime
I think he might be ready to talk about it. I think your body is, I think, happier to shed muscle than it is to shed fat, which is why when you're cutting or why when you're trying to lose weight, it's still recommended that you do some type of resistance training so that your body has the stimulus necessary to hold on to the muscle. Otherwise, if you're in big caloric deficits, your body will happily shed muscle. I don't know if it's because it's easier to access the calories from muscle. I feel like that's probably not true. I don't know why, but I think that's the pathway. I think your body will begin to digest the muscle before it goes for your fat reserves, unless you're actively using them.
You're going to be consuming less calories, you will both lose muscle mass and body fat. This is obviously not ideal, but with this type of medication, that control is limited. But we do have control. Any good doctor should not be just prescribing this medication and forgetting about the patient. You're supposed to be getting the medication and having the doses slowly increase based on the effects and side effects that we're seeing.
Destiny is habitually irresponsible with his statements. Just look it up. You're not an armchair expert. These are all things I've looked up before. DAO in YouTube chat. If you think I'm saying anything wrong, you're literally participating in the stream right now. Type it and say it, and we'll click it, and we'll look at. We're literally watching Do a Doctor talk about this right now. What do you think I just said that was incorrect? Feel free to throw it in chat, buddy.
Also, it should come with a plan for nutrition, possibly meeting with a nutritionist who can help guide you as to how much protein you should be taking in, despite the fact that you're consuming less calories, and a plan for exercise that includes resistance and weight training to help keep on some of that lean muscle mass. This is the one where I'm seeing the most examples of on TikTok. Someone saying, oh, I took Ozempic for a wedding and I lost 10 pounds. Look how great I look. This is not what the medicine was intended for. In fact, people who are already of a healthy weight looking to get skinnier were not the ones that were studied when we were checking the safety and effectiveness of this medication. So maybe taking it while you're already at a healthy weight can lead to worse side effects. And the worst part of all of it, once you stop taking it, the weight will come right back. This type of yo-yo dieting has been associated with numerous health risks, including returning to your normal weight and then going past it and gaining even more weight after you stop a medication like this.
You said you can still eat like shit and still lose weight? Yes, because weight is just a factor of how many calories you take in versus how much you burn. If you eat like shit, it's harder to eat less calories because usually that food is less satiating, so you usually eat more, but you can eat like shit and still lose weight. Your body doesn't punish you for eating unhealthy food by making you fatter. It's just a function of how much energy you take in versus how much energy you burn. Somebody said, we've talked about this before, I don't know if maybe thinks he hasn't, but I guess we'll say it again. Somebody said lean muscle mass loss is often misunderstood data. Water equals lean mass. Anytime you decrease calories, you'll begin to hold less glycogen and less water as a result. Yes, when you begin dieting, the reason why you lose a ton of weight in the first week, you might lose 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 pounds, depending on how fat you are in the very first week. The reason why is because you're burning through your glycogen stores, and glycogen, I think, is It's carbs plus water, I think. There's a lot of water associated with your glycogen reserves, and when you burn through those by dieting incredibly quickly, you'll lose a lot of weight incredibly quickly. But you haven't burned through actual fat. That's why when you start dieting in the first week, you'll lose a ton of weight, and then you'll either stall, or as your glycogen reserves like become more like adapted to your new diet, you'll increase weight a little bit, and then your weight loss seems incredibly stalled or slower, and then you get demotivated because for some reason it's not going as well as it did in your first week. The very first week of weight loss, it's your glycogen reserves that are like hardcore adjusting, and it's all the water that you're losing as a result of burning through those and not replenishing them by eating the same amount of bullshit you were before. Yes, true.
Anytime you have a rapid type of weight loss, what can happen is you lose the subcutaneous fat that's present in your skin, especially if in your 30s or 40s. And as a result, you can develop this hollowed out appearance to your face. Now, if you're taking Ozempic or Wegovy the correct way, this shouldn't be happening. My suspicion is the people who are experiencing this quote unquote Ozempic face or this hollowed out look are individuals who are rushing to lose weight, using it in a way that is not being prescribed to them, because when doctors prescribe these medicines, they do it with a titration mindset, meaning they start low and they slowly increase your dose while monitoring how much weight you're losing, how many...
Now weight loss equals bad. Well, yes, technically, if you really think about your human body, yes, weight loss is, if you think about it, if you believe in evolution, weight loss is probably one of the worst fucking things that can ever happen to your body, because it means that you're probably in some period of like severe caloric restriction. Right? Your body is designed to hold on to as much weight as it can, as viciously as possible. That's why losing weight is so difficult. Why would your body want to lose weight when energy and access to energy is probably one of the most defining characteristics of a species, your ability to hunt and eat food and stay healthy and reproduce and all that. So yeah, weight loss tends to be pretty hard. It'll have a lot of weird impacts, especially if you do it incredibly quickly, right?
side effects
unless you're obese like most people. Body doesn't recognize obesity. Obesity is not a thing that the human body recognizes, because chances are more than 10,000 years ago people weren't obese. How are you going to get obese? You wouldn't be able to hunt or do anything. Your body just wants calories and it grabs onto it and then holds onto it. That's it. Your body doesn't, if you're fat, whatever, it'll keep holding on to calories. It's not like your body wants to lose weight if you weigh 400 pounds.
Experiencing. Ideally, what doctors are looking for is for a continued 1 to 2 pound weight loss per week. Obviously, that varies depending on your own individual situation, but certainly not the 10, 15 pounds in 1 week that people are claiming they've lost on these medications when they're using them in a non-prescribed, uncontrolled way. I don't think GLP-1 medication should be first-line treatments for those who need to lose weight. Anytime you're prescribing a medication, there needs to be a risk-benefit ratio done for the individual sitting in front of you, and ultimately the individual needs to decide if the medication is right for them. And while these medications have shown promise for individuals to lose 10 to 20% of their weight if they are overweight or obese, it's still important to factor in that there are legitimate risks to taking these medications. There are side effects. People have GI issues, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, constipation, pancreatitis, kidney issues. There is a potential issue of increases in thyroid cancer long-term with these medications. And these are not reasons to not take the medicine. These are reasons to think about this medicine as a tool in our arsenal to help patients reach their desired weight. And when we talk about their desired weight, that talks about a healthy weight. To me, I feel like this whole conversation has caused us to lose sight of the big picture. With the exception of an individual who's facing harsh socioeconomic standing, someone who has a legitimate medical condition like diabetes or a thyroid condition, among the many others that cause increased weight, weight loss or weight gain is under our control. There are things that we can do, and I could recommend as a doctor to help someone lose weight when it comes to a nutrition standpoint, a fitness standpoint.
Taking Ozempic and not changing your lifestyle or eating patterns is like taking steroids and not lifting. not to be mean and not to take away from anybody's progress or whatever, but like if you take steroids and you don't lift, chances are you will probably gain more lean muscle mass than a person who is legitimately lifting. So it's not even a good comparison. Like it's not necessarily the healthiest thing to do, and there are a bunch of downstream side effects from injecting yourself with steroids, however you do it, but not lifting and like roiding the fuck up will probably gain you more lean muscle mass, at least in the beginning, than a person who's even legitimately lifting. So
sleep, mental health, etc. When I think about my patient's health, I don't just think about their weight. Weight is not the sole determinant of one's health. And when it comes to improving someone's lifestyle, we're not only lowering the weight, we're also improving their quality of life, decreasing risks of certain cancers, other diseases, and ultimately extending and prolonging their lives. That's what being a doctor is about, not just focusing on the scale. I actually had a patient whose doctors said all of their symptoms were due to their weight. And I actually found that wasn't the case at all. Click here to check that out. And as always, stay happy and healthy.
wow. Have you looked into the Tuskegee trials? People aren't skeptical about Big Pharma for no reason. How many people do you think were impacted by that? Have you looked into cars that like lied on safety like evaluations? Do you not trust any cars ever? Or have you looked at, like, there are so many industries where there have been bad actors. It doesn't mean that you suddenly distrust the entire industry. What mechanism would increase muscle mass without resistance training or hypertrophy, even on steroids? Please enlighten me. You could just Google it if you want to know on your own, but you do realize that all the muscle that you have in your body doesn't just come from resistance training or hypertrophy, right? That there are men that carry naturally higher amounts of muscle on their body for a lot of different reasons than other men, and it's not just related to how much exercise they do. If you have more testosterone in your body, you can naturally carry more muscle mass on your body. It's part of what steroids does. If you don't like it, go Google it. We're not gonna. This isn't like even a super debated thing. Go watch Dr. Mike, not this one, the other one, Mike Isertel, okay? I think it's this. Do you think that larger people on average carry more muscle along with fat, obviously, than like a 140-pound dude that doesn't work out? Yeah, I mean, different types of muscle, sure. Like a fatter person isn't necessarily going to be able to bench a whole lot more, but they can probably squat a lot more because they're using their legs more to carry themselves around. But like you should think of, when you think about muscle, when you think about strength, you should think about it proportionally to how much you weigh or the body that you have, right? Like a guy who's 300 pounds that can bench 200 pounds is a lot less impressive than a person who weighs 120 pounds that can bench, 175. You should consider strength to be like a function of your body weight as well. Yeah. Why is the burden on me? I said, you don't need an expert. Just look up the info instead of asking Destiny for advice on anything. Destiny's only an expert in streaming and yapping. Then why even watch a stream ever? Just go Google a bunch of stuff and look it up. Don't watch me for anything. Okay.